from NBC Los Angeles, assistant LA district attorney faces felony charges for allegedly mishandling confidential police files. My name is Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
Costs you nothing, helps me a lot. But if you want to pay money and help me even more, buy my book, New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued, on Amazon. Link will be in the description. But they say, the head of the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office Ethics and Integrity Unit was charged Wednesday by the California Attorney General's Office with allegations she unlawfully accessed confidential files that contained legally protected information about local law enforcement officers. So that's already a mess. And I'm constantly complaining about how in Oakland and in New York, they're blaming the cops for everything as crime skyrockets. But maybe in LA, the cops are completely corrupt. I mean, the ethics office, the ethics and integrity unit was charged. Aren't they supposed to be combating this stuff? It's kind of like when San Francisco Department of Public Works head was taken down by the feds. And it's like, you were the one charged with sweeping the needles and the poop in the tents off the street, and you're just taking bribes and giving kickbacks to your girlfriend, who of course is the mayor, London Bree. I mean, it's just a complete and total mess. So we don't know who to trust in this situation. And for the record, if she was caught obtaining legally protected information, maybe she was doing that to expose some of the corruption within the department. Who knows? We already saw the other young lady from Gascon's office who tried to blow the whistle on some of his soft on crime policies, which we already knew, but I guess she was coming around. And I actually have that article pulled up here. We'll go ahead and look at that in a little bit. But they say Diana Turan, an assistant district attorney and member of DA Gascon's leadership team, allegedly obtained the data while she was previously employed at the LA County Sheriff's Department, according to California Attorney General Rob Bonta's office. No one is above the law. Wow. He got the talking point.
No one, not even the president, is above the law.
Got that? No one is above the law. Explain the very same people who spent all day making excuses for illegitimate government spying on American citizens. But never mind. Literally, no one is above the law. Watch.
No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States.
No one's above the law.
No one is above the law.
That no person is above the law.
Nobody should be above the law.
Nobody should be above the law, including the President of the United States.
Bonta said in a prepared statement, predictable. And it said public officials must serve with integrity and honesty. Yeah, one might think, but you guys aren't going to do it. You're absolutely criminal political thugs, and you breed criminal citizens. I mean, it's just through the roof. The criminal complaint filed in LA Superior Court alleges the personnel files of 11 unnamed enforcement officers were improperly accessed, and later, the Attorney General's office said Turan used the information impermissibly after joining Gascon's team in 2021. At the DA's office, Turan was at one time part of a group of prosecutors tasked with examining resentencings, and it was unclear which of these cases she worked on might have involved the improperly obtained information. It just never ends with these people. So it's gotten so greasy, and I've said this, well, I've thought this, I don't know if I've actually said this several times, but I will from here on out. You're going to hear it probably every other video. But when you see all of these people they're going to get Trump, and there's indictments, and we're going to put you in jail, how about we just don't do it, right? You guys can't be trusted. Just don't do it. Just ignore them. I truly don't think that there is enough people on the corruption payroll to jail everybody. Right? I mean, if the cops can't even be bothered to arrest some of the protesters at colleges or in the streets every couple of years, they can't do that. So how about we just ignore them. Okay? What are you going to do? You hate the police officers. Even if you didn't hate the police officers, there's just not enough of them. And for better or for worse, let's just do it, Rip the Band-Aid off. You guys keep terrorizing people and making criminals out of innocent people and letting the real criminals go free, and you're all completely corrupt. It's rotten from the inside out. Let's just do it. Try to put some people in jail and see what happens. And we're there. We've already crossed the Rubicon. So I say, let's stop beating around the bush and just go full force, right? Especially if Governor Greaseball Scumbag Bang Your Wife Gavin Newsom gets anywhere near the levers of power. I mean, in my lifetime, that calls for hot kinetic conflict, but a completely different story. A spokeswoman for Gascon said although the office would not address specific personnel matters, it would comply with any investigation from the Attorney General's office and remained committed to upholding transparency and ensuring police accountability within Los Angeles County. Of course, and there you go again, as we know it. I mean, there's people living on the highway. There's squatters. The mayor of LA's own house is getting broken into. But we're going to ensure that there's police accountability. All right, fine. Tehran was not immediately available for comment, and she was expected to turn herself in to authorities for processing. No court date had been set. The LA County Sheriff's Department said it's cooperating fully with the California Department of Justice. I mean, yeah, laughable. The California Department of Justice. I mean, kind of like when some of these mainstream news reporters go to New York and say, are you going to be impartial in the Trump trial? I mean, and it's a catch-22, right? If you don't hate Trump, then that's enough to get you kicked off. If you do hate Trump, then you're going to be on and certainly not be impartial. But that too is a different story. The department is concerned about any personnel data or files that are used in an unofficial capacity, and will be conducting an internal review to ensure our employees' information is secure and protected. One of the officers whose data is part of the Bonta case, a retired detective who asked to remain anonymous, told the I-Team Wednesday he was glad to see complaints about the misuse of his personnel information and had been taken seriously and investigated. And I truly don't know, right? I mean, the waters have been so muddied. There's no way to trust any of these people, but I'd be willing to bet even the person that obtained these documents or unlawfully looked at these documents might be just trying to expose some corruption, like we've seen before. Reputations and careers were ruined, the detective said of some of the other whose files were taken. Robert Pippin, president of the 8,000-member Association for Los Angeles County Deputy Sheriff's Sheriffs, the union that represents most deputies, said the charges were the latest example of poor judgment and lack of leadership. Promoting Tehran to assistant district attorney, ironically in charge of ethics and integrity, even occurred despite legitimate objections from many experienced prosecutors. Those objections included Tehran being paid by the public defender's office at the same time she worked for the DA's office. What? How is this happening? It doesn't make any sense.
This doesn't make any sense.
There's corruption all over the place. It is, I know I've said this several times, it is a corruption race to the bottom. Tehran's team suppressing a declination of a police officer's abuse case to influence the 2022 LA County Sheriff's race. That's always it, right? If things don't go your way, then it's a crime. And we see that, but we should just ignore it. Just ignore it. There is more regular people than there are of them, and you got completely greedy, and you are totally untrustworthy, to put it nicely. But here is just from early March 2024. LA prosecutor says boss Gascon sent cops to intimidate her at home after blowing the whistle on soft on crime memo. So we already have seen at least one other person in Gascon's office, as if we didn't know. Maybe she's just now coming around, but it's a completely corrupt operation, right? Los Angeles, California. Give me a break. So she blows the whistle and then says that Gascon sent armed or probably armed, but uniformed officers to her house. And if I'm 100% honest, I actually thought there was a video in this article. There's a clip from the video. Not bad, right? Yeah, doesn't really matter. Maybe Jamie, do you have the clip? Can you pull up the clip?
Essentially, when we get a case that alleges that people were racing, people were driving recklessly, or people were involved in a street takeover, we would decline those charges, meaning we refuse to prosecute this case, and we would refer it to an office hearing.
During an office hearing, suspects would be offered a class created by MAD on the importance of safe driving.
They get a little talking to. It's kind of like going to the principal's office, and there are no repercussions after.
Shahoyan says there will be no record of a case filing, no conviction for DMV purposes, and no indication the person was involved in reckless driving.
The same conduct that we're talking about here is the same conduct that results in the death of so many people. It's like saying if somebody shoots at somebody else and they're a bad shot and they miss, we're not going to file charges because nothing happened.
Then there's this from Newsweek only a couple weeks ago, and I remember saying, wow, why is Newsweek reporting some truth? And it's very slippery, right? Because the establishment constantly wants to blame the cops, even though the cops are sometimes on their side, and we don't know who to trust. It's almost like how the establishment constantly cries racism, but then sends out the Kennedy family of awfuls, inbred awfuls, to tell you, you need to vote for Joe Biden.
Joe Biden's every decision is informed by his love, his wisdom, and his compassion towards those who suffer. That is why we are so happy today to pledge our unwavering support to President Joe Biden and President Kamala Harris.
And everything is racist, even though they're the most pasty pale, inbred white folks that we've ever seen. And, you know, it's not always about the cops. Not cops always good, cops always bad. It's like, this should make it crystal clear, 100% abundantly clear, that is not about your skin color. It is not about the position or the uniform you wear. It is about your content of character and willingness to bow to the mob at every possible turn. But I digress. Letitia James's assistant may face charge of criminal tampering. So this woman, of course, she was gonna get Orange Man bad. And then she also somehow recently said that it wasn't political. This is a real case about wrongdoing, even though you quite literally ran on taking down Trump and we all saw the videos of it, and then you just do a 180 and pretend as though we don't have the internet. Lady, you're not that old. You're not Bo Biden's age. You know what the hell is going on, but she knows just as well as Katie Hobbs knows that the machine works for her. They're absolutely despicable. So when you're trying to take down the president, when, you know, big, fat, phony, furious Fannie Pack Willis wants to take down the president, when this lady wants to take down the president, when Jack Smith wants to take down the president, and now that lady in Arizona also wants to take down not the president, but 11 of his accomplices, they do not have clean hands. They're completely dirty. They're completely corrupt. And I'm obviously preaching to the choir. We all know about this. But I guess my point is we should just ignore them. Ignore every time they try to do something, just ignore it. Some people might even go as far as to say, don't pay your taxes, because they're just going to give it to foreign countries all over the place. But just ignore them. They don't have the manpower, right? And the great Kanye West once said, well, he's made some missteps recently, very strange stuff, but he did make graduation. And he once said, and they got really mad at him for saying that slavery was a choice.
You hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
It sounds exactly like this. When you let these people take control and you put your own hands behind your back and go to jail because they said so, it's over. You are no longer trustworthy, and I vote we just rip the Band-Aid off. I vote that if this comes to blows, then that's what it's going to have to be, because you've overstepped the boundaries, and I don't think we should do it anymore.